So, you want to win a Toastmasters evaluation contest. Well, I'll do one better for you. If you follow the advice in this video, not only will you win your contest, but you will deliver the best evaluation your district has ever seen. Now that's a very bold claim, but I feel I can back it up for two reasons. Number one, I've won 2 district evaluation contests very convincingly. You can check out videos to those above. And secondly, and far more importantly I will add, thousands of people have been using my style, my technique for evaluations, and have won contests. They've won club contests, area contests, sometimes even district contests. I get emails every week about people telling me this after watching some of my evaluations on YouTube. So what I thought I'd do today is pull back the curtain on the whole system, the whole technique, the whole framework that I use for delivering evaluations. So hopefully this video will help you win that contest, but above all, it's going to help you deliver better feedback in Toastmasters and outside of Toastmasters, which is our ultimate goal at the end of the day. Now, before I talk you through step by step, second by second, what your 3-minute evaluation should look like, it's very important that you understand the purpose of a Toastmasters evaluation. So let me ask you, what do you think is the purpose of a Toastmasters evaluation? You can put your answer in the comment below if you like. Now, if you said the purpose is to help the speaker improve, you're wrong. You're wrong, and this is why most people do not deliver effective evaluations. The purpose is not just to help the speaker improve. When you deliver a Toastmasters evaluation in your club or at a district contest or anywhere, the purpose is to help the room improve. You want to make sure every single person in your audience is walking away with value from your evaluation. That is what we need to strive to achieve. And the only way to begin doing that is to actually change how we look at evaluations. Instead of seeing an evaluation as just feedback, we need to see an evaluation as a speech. We need to treat it like a speech. We need to make sure that the opening is compelling, that there's a strong structure all the way through, and that the ending has a highly impactful call to action. This is how we're going to hold the attention of everyone in our audience, even when the evaluation you're delivering is not actually about them. So that is the key purpose of an evaluation, to help the room improve. And it's really important that you grasp that and you accept that before you even look at what I'm about to tell you next. So now that we're on the same page, I want you to imagine that this line here represents your 3-minute evaluation. What we're going to do is go through the 5 key ingredients to an exceptional evaluation. I'm going to walk you through them second by second. Okay, exactly what you should be saying and what you should be doing to make sure that you win that contest and deliver effective feedback for the room, not the speaker, the room. So let's get into it. The opening of your evaluation is a critical moment, and it's so important that you don't start by saying, fellow Toastmasters, contest chair, and of course, Gary, because that is boring. What you need to do instead is start with a hook. You need to have a sentence which takes about 10 seconds, which grabs the entire room, that makes them want to hear more. Now, when it comes to creating a hook for your evaluation, I suggest that you go down one of 2 routes. You either try and have a funny hook, a humorous opening, or a profound opening. And I'll explain both of these now. So a humorous hook. This is where you try to open with something funny to make the audience laugh. And what I would advise doing is take content from the speech you've just watched, from the test speaker, And anything that they said that was funny, try and build upon that. So I'm going to give you an example of this from an evaluation that I did at a division contest that won me it. And in this evaluation, the test speaker was delivering a speech about golf, okay, about playing golf. So this is how I decided to open that evaluation. Yep, Paul O'Mahony has hit a hole-in-one with that speech. Now, of course, that technique only works when you have a humorous speech that you're evaluating. If there's no humor in the speech at all, if it's actually a very serious speech, it might be kind of strange to start with humor, actually. You always want to match the theme of the test speaker. So if you were dealing with a more serious, profound speech, I would recommend starting in a more profound way. Now, there was a very profound speech this year in the World Championship of Public Speaking. It was by Murtagh. She came third in the world. And her speech was about how she lost her eyesight and how her father was there to support her. And there was this one scene in the speech where Miriam and her father were in a doctor's room and she was getting a diagnosis. And this is what her father said in that moment.
That day, Dad asked the doctor, "Doctor, can I please give her my eyes?"
So if I was evaluating that profound speech, I would probably begin by saying, "Can I give her my eyes?" Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, when Miriam said those words, that touched my heart. And then I'd continue from there. So you can still find ways to start in an interesting way to hook the audience in, even when the message is more serious and is more profound. But the key point overall, you've got to start with a hook and banging opening 10 seconds that truly makes the audience want to hear more. We can now move on to the second key ingredient out of the 5, which is to talk about the speaker's strengths. And I would recommend only going up to 1 minute 30 in your evaluation to speaking about the strengths of the speaker. And one of the big questions that a lot of people have is how many points should you have for the strengths? Should you talk about 7 things the speaker did well? Should you talk about 1 thing? What's the sort of right number? I get asked this a lot. And the answer, what I've found personally, is 3. You want to give the speaker 3 key things. Point out 3 key strengths in their speech. 3 is a good number because it allows you to cover quite a bit of ground, but it also allows you to go more in depth into those 3 things. And that brings me on to my second point. A lot of what I see from amateur evaluators or people who are just new into Toastmasters is they just say things like, "I really liked your voice." And the problem with that is it's not explaining why their voice was impactful or what particular area of their voice was impactful. You've got to be more specific and you've got to say why. The why is so important. You've got to continuously be educating the audience on why what you're seeing is having a positive effect. So what you should say is, "I really loved your voice, especially when you lowered it, because it drew me more in to the presentation." So for each of your strengths, always explain why and always be specific with when, in particular, that key attribute impacted you. Now we can move on to your suggestions, the things that you think the speaker could do better. And I recommend spending a full minute on your suggestions. So it brings you up to 2 minutes 30 in your evaluation. And let's be honest with each other. The suggestions are what is going to make or break your evaluation. When judges are filling out their ballots, It's the advice that you give that ultimately impacts their decision in terms of where they rank you. So your suggestions have got to be very strong. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about here regarding suggestions. Firstly, for those of you who are very, very keen competitors, I recommend having one suggestion for content and one suggestion for delivery. And the reason I'm saying that is because in the past, I made the huge mistake of only giving delivery suggestions. So I would only give feedback in terms of how someone could improve their body language, how someone could improve their voice. I would never comment on the stories, the structure of the speech, their opening, their ending, their word choice. And because of that, I actually lost a district contest. So to save you making that mistake, make sure that you also give content suggestions, because some judges prefer content and some judges prefer delivery. And if you've got one of both, you're kind of pleasing everyone who could potentially be a judge in the audience. Now, with those two suggestions that you have, one content, one delivery, you must, and this is critical, you must demonstrate. The biggest difference between a decent evaluator and a great evaluator is clarity. A decent evaluator, they'll give a suggestion, you could improve your body language, but they won't give clarity in terms of exactly how to improve it. A great evaluator will say, you could improve your body language by having more open palm gestures. If your hands were open like this, you'd seem more welcoming and warm to the audience compared to having closed palms like you did during some of your speech. Do you see the difference in clarity there? That first example, body language, so vague. I don't know exactly what I need to do next as a speaker or as an audience in terms of how to improve. But that second example, I know I need to just open my palms, right? I have that clear idea. Clarity is king in speaking and evaluations in general. So make sure that you demonstrate so that you provide the speaker and the audience with that clarity. And what I will also say here is even for your content suggestions, you need to give a demonstration. So for example, if you don't like how someone ended their speech, well, guess what? You have to come up with a new ending for them. And I actually did this in my 2020 district evaluation. This was the suggestion I gave. My second point for improvement for Azul would be the end of this speech. I don't think she ended with the correct message. She spoke about the 52 weeks. I think the key message here, which added the most value, was when she spoke about doing things with gusto, with passion, being proud and loud. I think that was the key essence of this speech. And as a speaker, you always want to end on your best point, on your most impactful point, because what is said last lasts with your audience. And I figured that's where it was for Azul. So I would encourage her to end with that point so that we've got maximum impact and value coming to the audience instead of speaking about the 52 weeks. Yeah, I had a wild hairstyle back then. But hopefully you saw the importance of demonstrating there and how that provides clarity for the speaker and the audience in terms of how they can both move forward with their future speeches. So you've got to demonstrate and you've got to make sure you have one content suggestion and one delivery suggestion. This is paramount. The fourth part to a brilliant evaluation is a summary. A summary. Now I recommend only making 20 seconds in terms of time for your summary. And this is a key area that a lot of people fall down on. Firstly, they don't even do a summary in their evaluation. And I believe a summary is worth 15 points on the evaluation form. So you need to have one if you want the judges to mark you in this area. And then secondly, when people do a summary, it's very boring and it doesn't actually summarize what has previously been said. Now, if you've been following so far, you may have counted that we've got 3 strengths for the speaker and we've got 2 suggestions for the speaker. In this 20-second period of time, you need to recap those 5 points very quickly and very concisely. So I'll give you an example of this. This clip is from my 2022 winning district evaluation, and this is what my summary looked like. It's just about 20 seconds long. But overall, I loved this speech. I loved the personal, relatable story, the facial expressions, the crisp voice, and also the relationship between the Baroness and Rupa. If you can make those adjustments, Rupa, of number 1, changing your camera angle so we can see more of your great body language and gestures, and then secondly, including a key message so we know what to do next, I think you'll inspire even more people to find their perfect mentor. So as you can see, the summary is very fast-paced. It's just the cliff notes. It's covering those 3 strengths and those 2 suggestions that you gave the audience. And the beauty of doing that by mentioning all 5 points is you actually remind the audience and you remind the judges what you've previously said. And it really looks like a well-rounded evaluation if you do this effectively. But listen, we don't want to just end on a summary. That's what everybody does. No, we want to end on something special. We want to end on something memorable. We want to end on a bang. Now the bang, that's how I like to call it, lasts about 10 seconds. And this is almost like a killer line that you leave at the end of your evaluation. And I saw a really good example of this in my club once. We had a speaker who was delivering a speech about rap, about hip hop. And in their speech, they actually did a mini rap about Toastmasters, I think, actually. It was very, very cool. But then it came to our evaluator giving them feedback. And what she did was at the end of her evaluation for this speech about hip-hop, she ended by saying, well, that's a wrap. And that's a beautiful mic drop moment, if you will. And that's what we're looking to do at the end of our evaluation. End with something special that makes people laugh, makes people smile, makes people think, yeah, that was brilliant. And a cool technique you can use here is actually to link back to your hook at the start. So you may remember for the funny example I gave you, I had a hook about that speech around golf. Well, this is how I ended that evaluation. And I have to say, it has been an absolute pleasure seeing you play on the course today. Contest chair. So as you can see, I ended with a reference about golf because I started with a reference about golf too. And it creates that nice loop for the audience. And it's a beautiful way to round up your evaluation. It looks really slick, it looks really professional, and it makes people smile a little bit too. You've got to end with a bang. Just like a speech, what you say last will last with the audience. So make sure that you give your final seconds a good bit of thought and that you make them count. So if you want to win a Toastmasters evaluation, this is your go-to guide. Start with a hook, something funny or something profound. Move into the strengths, have 3 of them, explain why each thing is a strength. Then go into suggestions. 2 suggestions, 1 content, 1 delivery, and make sure you demonstrate. Have a quick, fast summary of your 5 points, and then of course, end with a spectacular bang. And I promise you, if you follow this to a T, you're going to win your contest. And you will most likely deliver the best evaluation that your district has ever seen. If you found this video useful, I'd be very grateful if you could give it a like, if you could subscribe to the channel. It helps with growing the channel. I'm going to be doing more videos about evaluations, other Toastmaster things, but of course, public speaking in general for outside of Toastmasters too. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss any of those videos. If you have any questions about your evaluations, put them in the chat below. I will get back to you. But above all, remember, the purpose of your evaluation, it's not to help the speaker improve. You know the answer now. It's to help the room improve.